All right, guys, we're recording. This is number one. Yeah, you better sit down. We are recording for, wait, it's silent. Number one for the take-home quiz. Okay, let's read it out loud. It's kind of hard to see because it's really tiny. This is as big as I can make it. The formula A equals M minus N represents the actual cost A. Remember, literal equations. A is actually standing using the letter A for a word that starts with A. Actual cost of an item with original price M. That's not really fun. Original price M. Because it shouldn't be P. After a coupon for N dollars off is applied. Solve the formula for the amount of the coupon. Okay, so do you agree that there's a lot of information here that's not necessary to really solve the problem? What they're doing is they're explaining this formula and what each variable represents. What does A represent? Actual cost. If I'm writing, you're writing, or I will not give you credit for this. Abby, are you on this on the homework right now? Honestly? Because you look very, very happy and interested in it, and I'm not sure if that's totally exactly what's going on. A represents the actual cost. What does M represent? Can you guys see this? Emily in the back, can you see this? Okay. What does M represent? We have the actual cost A.
Original price.
Yep, original price M. So that would be original price. And then the last part is N. What does N represent?
Dollars.
Yeah. Okay, so this one's a little tricky because it says after a coupon for N dollars, okay? So it seems like N represents dollars. Dollars is really the unit that N has, but what N is representing is the coupon. I am very sorry that this literal equation is not actually using really great letters. I would have called the original price P and the coupon C, but I didn't write the problem, so we're just gonna have to do what it says, right? Make sure you're taking notes, okay? Do you want another copy of yours so you can start working on the harder ones again? Yes. Don't use your answer keys. Try to do a pretend for the test. Okay, so now the original formula is A equals M minus N. It says solve the formula for the amount of the coupon. Solve for the amount of the coupon. Tell me what this formula, as it's written, tell me what it's solved for. Yes, it's solved for the actual cost, A. The variable that is isolated is the actual cost. It wants us to solve for the coupon. So what do we have to isolate? The N, very good. Do you guys understand that so far?
Yeah.
Emily, I know you're working on other stuff, but like, will you watch these videos later?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so if we are solving for the coupon, we have to get the N by itself. There are a few ways to do this that are correct. So what do you think we could start with? Well, the N is not by itself, so can we just blow on the M and the minus to make it go away? No, we can't just yell at it to go away or blow at it to go away, right? What? can be what?
See a little bit of that side.
That's okay.
can erase it.
Let's focus on the problem, okay? Yeah, you could erase it, right? But we're only allowed to do things that keeps this equal sign true, that keeps what's on this side equal or balanced to what's on this side. If I erase something, I just made it totally unbalanced. The only way that you're allowed to do something to one side is if you do the exact same thing to the other side. Callie, pay attention. Okay. What can I do? Yeah. Subtract what? Well, what are we trying to get by itself?
You can subtract the A and the A.
We look at what's.
Subtract M.
Yes.
And then just say.
Yes, very good. Let's subtract M
Oh, what do we say?
on both sides. I didn't hear you. Subtract M on both sides. So now we have A minus M equals negative M. So let's look over here. We have a negative n. I'm going to compare it with these answers here. We have a negative n equals a minus m. So this says n equals a minus m, but that can't be right because we have a negative n. So this is going to be really, really tricky, but I'm going to show you a trick, okay? To get rid of n being multiplied by a negative, you have to divide it by a negative. Just like we can make an invisible 1 show up, right? And if it's negative 1n, can I divide it by negative 1 to get rid of that negative? Also, you can divide this whole thing by negative 1, which means each of these have to have a sign change. Right? So then we cancel out our negative 1, and we have, if this is being divided by negative 1, this has to have a sign change, because a negative is going to change the sign, right? When you divide by a negative, it changes the sign. Ricky, are you on this? Okay. So when you divide by a negative, it's going to change the sign of both of these terms, okay? So we have n equals, what do we have? Negative a. Everything is being divided by this negative, so the sign changes. We have negative a. Nope. Negative m divided by a negative is positive m. Now let's see if we have a match. We have n equals negative a plus m. Do we have that? Do we have it? Does it match an answer choice? It doesn't. So there's one more thing we can do to make it match one of the answer choices. I'm going to use my commutative property of addition to say that negative a is being combined with a positive m. With addition, I can switch places, right? Commutative property of addition. Like 2 plus 3 is what?
5.
Good. What if I switch the 2 and the 3 and I say 3 plus 2? Still 5. So I'm allowed to switch my add-ins, right? Commutative property of multiplication. So if I want to choose an answer that is exactly the same, let's just switch those, because we can use our commutative property of addition. And I can have my positive m over here and my negative a over here. Do we have a match now?
Yes.
What is it?
B.
other way that you could do this, I'm gonna rewrite this. I think this would work too. Let me see if this would actually work. The other way you can do this is, I'm gonna write the original formula again. A equals m minus n. So technically, what we did was we subtracted the m. Now, I know we're trying to get the m by itself, but what if I just wanted to try to keep things a little bit positive? What if I go plus n plus n? Now, I have a plus n equals m. Now, that doesn't help at all, except now, even though I didn't get the n by itself, at least the n's positive. Now I can subtract a from both sides. And I get n equals m minus a. It's a little bit quicker, right? So either way you slice it, they're a little bit tricky, but those are two ways to solve this problem.
It seems kind of easy, but then like.
Yeah. You just have to be really careful with your negatives.
Yeah.
And also remember that you have the ability to use properties to make equations work for you. So like, if this were like a fill in the blank and you didn't have answer choices, if you put this in there, that would be correct. But because we had to match it to one of the choices, that's where we go, okay, is this the same thing as one of those? What if I just switch my add-ins? Yeah, it is. Okay, it smells like chicken soup. It smells really good. All right. You want to go on to question number 2?
Yeah.
Now remember, if you are not taking notes on this, I will not give you credit for this correct answer. Okay?
Mine looks really colorful.
I love that they're colorful.
I understand I'm supposed to treat this like this,
Yeah.
but
If you have a question, you take notes. Or you not.
I have no.
This is
number
number
I
6.
would just multiply this by 4, right? Like this, probably.
Let me give you my notes for it. That's the one that
Because I remember doing it.
I went over in class. Yeah. And let's
Because I
see.
have it in my notes, but.
You do?
Yeah.
Then you use your notes. That's okay. I was gonna give you my notes, but just use your notes. All right, guys. Number 2. Dion plans to ride a 15-mile bicycle trail. If his average speed is 20 miles per hour, which equation can he use to find the time, t, in hours? Okay, so what is our formula for distance? Distance equals
Rate over time or something like that.
something like that, but it's not quite that. Distance equals rate times time. Distance equals rate times time. And since this quiz is open note, if I weren't doing this with you, you could absolutely look up on the internet what is the distance formula. That's totally fine with me.
So
Okay.
basically, open note is literally anything.
Open anything, as long as you show all your work.
So
Because
basically,
if you get the right answer and I don't see the work for it, I can't give you credit.
so
What if
basically,
they
you
use
find
format?
an exact copy of the quiz on like a website, and then copy all like this.
Sure, go for it. If that's what,
What
that's how
if
you
they
get
use
your.
photomath?
Photomath is okay, because Photomath shows all the steps. So if you show me all the steps, they showed you, you get the credit. Yes, I know, I'm that nice. It's shocking, right? All right, back to this.
We couldn't do that.
We couldn't do that? Yes.
couldn't do that
We
last
couldn't do that.
We couldn't do it last year.
Sure, not last year. The tests and quizzes are harder this year, that's why I'm being a little bit more generous. Dion plans to ride so we have our distance equals rate times time. But what is it asking us to solve for here?
The time.
Yes, the time. What? Yes. We want the time. So don't worry about any of this. Let's solve for t. how do we solve for t?
So you're going to have to get rid of the r, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I can't just like scream at it to make it go away. How do
So
I
you're going to have to
Erase it.
subtract r.
I can't subtract r because that's not doing the opposite of what's happening.
Oh.
What's happening? Yes, very good. It's being multiplied. These are being multiplied together. So if I want to get rid of it, I do the opposite. R divided by r cancels out to 1, and then I just have t. Do the same thing to the other side. So my formula is now t equals d over r. Now, why did I switch the t over here? Just because I felt like it, and also it's over here. So I just used my commutative property of equality, which means I can write that, I can flip the sides, and everything is still true. So I just used, only because I wanted to write it that way, I decided to flip my t on this side and my d over r on this side. Didn't change the equation at all, I just used my commutative property of equality, okay? Now, we have our formula that's solved for t. What can we fill in? What does this represent? A 15-mile trail distance. So t equals 15 miles over, and what does r represent? Right, it's the rate, which is also called the speed. Usually in the question it's going to call it the speed, but the formula, it says r for rate, which is the same thing as the speed, so 20 miles per hour. Do we have a match? What is it? I will not give you credit for that correct question unless you can show me your notes. Ricky, you taking notes on this, bud? Good job. Oh my goodness, what about this one?
I don't think you should count.
Oh, what if we do it together? Then I can count it.
That's true.
If I post videos, then I can count it. All right, let's read this complicated thing. In physics, the ideal gas law describes the relationship among the pressure, the volume, and the temperature of a gas sample. That's spectacular. This law is represented by the formula PV equals nRT. I'll write that big over here, it's too small. PV equals lowercase n RT, where P is the pressure, V is the volume, T is the temperature, N is the gas.
Shouldn't that be a G?
Right?
Yeah, what
Right?
did you mean?
Like, who's making these equations up? I don't know. And R is a physical constant.
And that should be a
Right?
lowercase p.
Or just a C, right? Constant. So, I know it's easy to get mad at the variables, but as long as they tell us what they all mean, and we have this kind of answer key here, we can work with it. So, it says select, now this is a tricky one. It says select all the equations that are equivalent. What does equivalent mean? Equal value, right? Select all the equations that are equivalent to the formula PV equals nRT. This is going to be a long one because we have to test every formula to see. Okay, the first one that I can say is absolutely not true is what? Why?
Wait, really?
Oh, I thought you were really getting it.
Because it looks weird.
Because it looks weird? They all look weird. Are you kidding? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Tell me why we can immediately.
Because the P and the V are together.
Right, because because, oh, wait, hold on. Well, yes. So technically, what we can see here is for this, if the P is isolated, that means what has to happen to the V to isolate the P? You know it. I know you know. You've been answering all these questions. Let's say we're trying to isolate. Okay, this has the P isolated. What would we do to isolate this P?
You're going to have to
I don't see any addition here, so why am I subtracting? Yes, this is all multiplication, guys. P times V equals N times R times T. It's all multiplication. So do the opposite of multiplication. If I'm going to be dividing by V on this side and dividing by V on this side, how can V be multiplied? Wrong, right? Because to solve for P, I would have to divide by V on both sides. And I would have P equals nRT over V. Do I have that? No. Wrong. What would I have to do to solve for V? Divide by P. Does that look like right? Like I divided by P on both sides? You want me to draw it out so you can see it? Writing the original formula, PV equals nRT. If I divide by P on both sides, is that correct? I mean, some of you are saying no, or some of you are saying yes. I'm just waiting for everybody to agree.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yes is correct. Okay. Because when we cancel out our P, we're left with V equals nRT over P. Good. Now it wants us to solve for baby n, lowercase n. So I'm going to rewrite the formula. This is going to be a little bit trickier, so let's write it together. PV equals nRT. Now let's solve it for baby n. N is being multiplied by RT. What do we do? Yes, very good, Ricky. Divide by RT on both sides. Cancel. Does it?
Yep.
Let's see. N equals PV over RT. N equals PV over RT. They're flipped, but is that okay? Is it okay that the N is over here and the PV over RT is over here? Why? Because of the commutative property of equality. Equality. Okay? Woo! Okay. We found two. Find the rest. It just says select all that are equivalent. We have to go through all of them.
It can't be D.
It's basically like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions in one. Isn't that fun?
No.
I know. PV equals nRT. Rewriting the same formula. Now, let's move over to solving for R. Yes?
It can't be D because it's not dividing.
You're so right. Because there has to be some sort of division going on, right? Because everything's being multiplied, so to isolate variables, we're going to need to divide. So if I'm isolating R, I'm going to divide by NT. Cancel, 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 divide by NT. R equals PV over NT, not multiplying. So that's wrong. Very good, Ricky.
It's not E either.
Yeah, it's not E.
It's not T either? Are you sure?
Yeah, because you can only pick two.
No, PV is PV is dividing.
nRT. You guys are smart. I got to work this out.
PV
Okay.
is dividing.
So dividing by NR.
No, it's not dividing by N.
If I'm isolating T and I divide by NR here, it says T equals NR over PV.
You're only allowed two maximum.
Correct. You're only allowed 2 maximum tries on the whole thing.
No,
So-
two
No, on the
choices.
yeah.
On this question, I tried clicking on.
No, I understand that, but watch, what Ricky just proved is that this, solving for T, would be PV over NR. This says NR over PV. So it's wrong. Even though it looks like, oh, well, it's division, and we have to divide to isolate, but they flipped those numerators and denominators. You can't just flip, that changes value. So yes, it is only B and C, and I better see notes for this, okay?
We have 5 minutes left for question 4 this
Do you,
like a 5-minute question.
okay, it looks like more, so you wanna do it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a question on your homework that you wanted to do?
I finished it.
You did? Did you get it right?
Yeah.
Good job.